I'm cutting straight to the chase here because I want you to fully understand what co-sponsorship means at EXP. It is somewhat new. I'm trying to deliver this message as fast as possible, hence the hair. So I'm covering the pros, the cons, and giving you some real life examples of how you should think about co-sponsorship, whether you are a primary sponsor, co-sponsor, or a sponsee. Many of you have likely already heard about co-sponsorship because other companies have it, but at EXP, it's different and it's better. Up until the co-sponsorship at EXP, one person used to name one sponsor and that was it. That was final unless they left EXP for 6 months and a day, then came back and reapplied under a new primary sponsor. Some people would do that over and over again. So recently, EXP actually changed that. So that way you have to leave and have left for a year before you can rename a new sponsor. I'm getting sidetracked. Other brokerages have co-sponsorship where one person signs 2 people as their sponsor. Therefore, the revenue share that the primary and the co-sponsor get is split down the middle, 50-50. In some companies, it's less than 50-50. So they end up getting like 40-40, and then 10% goes to the company just because. At EXP, they're not doing that. They're actually doubling up on the revenue share. So when a sponsee names a primary and a co-sponsor, which at this point I suggest that you do because it doesn't cost you anything, I suggest you do this because it benefits the primary sponsor and the co-sponsor. So instead of them splitting the revenue share 50-50 or worse, 40-40 or anything like that, it's being doubled. So that is a pro for both the primary sponsor, the co-sponsor, as well as the sponsee. Now I want to go dive deeper into the viewpoint of the primary sponsor, pros and cons. Then I'll go into the co-sponsor, and then I'll go into the sponsee. As a primary sponsor, whenever you have somebody that reaches out, or if you're reaching out and someone names you as a primary sponsor, you get the FLQA, you will get the stock, and you're going to get revenue share from levels 2 through 7. So those are the pros. The con is you will not get revenue share from level 1. Another pro of being the primary sponsor is that whoever joins you, you can leverage your upline and everything that they offer, if they offer anything. So that way it helps out the sponsee. So if your sponsor offers training every single day of the week, or checklists, or investors, or social media, whatever it is, your sponsee now has access to that. I mean, they already did, but that stays with the primary sponsor. So again, the cons of being a primary sponsor, the sponsee shifts to your level 2, which you end up getting paid more in level 2 than you do level 1. Therefore, you won't be receiving the level 1 revenue share from that agent. The viewpoint of being the co-sponsor, the pros and cons of that. The pros are 3 main things. Number 1 is you will get revenue share by being the co-sponsor. You will get revenue share on all levels, 1 through 7. Pro number 2 is that you will get what we call the fast start bonus. Now, what's that? That's going to be an extra 50% of the revenue share of the first year. The cons of being a co-sponsor is when someone names you as a co-sponsor, that sponsee will not have access to your upline. Your upline will not even see your co-sponsee in their dashboard. So if you have an upline that has a lot of value that they offer, they wouldn't be able to offer that. I mean, I guess technically they could, but as far as in EXP's eyes, the co-sponsee's upline doesn't even see the sponsee in the dashboard. So they wouldn't be able to onboard them or do anything like that. Another con of being the co-sponsor is you do not get the FLQA and you do not get the stocks. However, when you're looking at this chart right now, I think in my opinion, you end up making more money at being the co-sponsor as opposed to the primary sponsor, because you're not just getting level 2, you're getting 1 through 7 and that extra 50% in the first year. Now, here is a con for both the primary sponsor and the co-sponsor together is that you cannot be in the same family tree or the same organization. So if you've watched my videos, you cannot name me as a primary sponsor and then my sponsor, Shelby Johnson, as a co-sponsor. That's a con to the sponsors, but that's a pro to the sponsee, because if for any reason a whole organization were to leave EXP, that would leave the sponsee who decides to stay at EXP with a little bit of a hard time because their entire organization left. So it's a pro to the sponsee because if one person leaves, they at least have a whole nother organization. People have such small my God. What are they trying to prove? Now I want to talk about from the viewpoint of the sponsee, someone joining EXP, whether you're new or experienced or a broker owner, whatever you are, you have access to naming 2 people, primary and a co-sponsor. That's a major pro. A lot of people used to join EXP and realize that they made the wrong decision as far as their organization. They were promised one thing and they didn't get it, or they didn't do enough research before they ended up signing with EXP. And that's a pretty big move if you're going to move your entire business over to EXP, realize that you weren't given something that you were promised, have to leave for 6 months and a day and come back. So obviously the biggest pro for sponsees is that you have access now to 2 organizations. You can use their systems and playbooks. But again, I want to be clear, you have access to your primary sponsors, all like upline, all the way up to their level 6, which would be your level 7. But for the co-sponsor that you choose, you have them. So make sure that the co-sponsor that you choose has enough just by themselves, not their upline, because you will not have access to their upline. And by the way, people think upline, downline is like a bad word. It is what it is. I don't know why people are offended by that word. It's the upline. Well, whatever. So that would be a con. You do not have access to the co-sponsor's upline. So therefore, you have to make such a strategic decision, which I'll get to at the end. I'm going to go through a couple of scenarios that may apply to you to help you let you know which one is going to be the best one. Another con is about timeliness. This is so important. I'm going to stress this one time. So remember this. Once you apply to EXP and have named a primary sponsor, you only have 5 days to choose a co-sponsor. 5 days. Not 6, no exceptions. If you do not choose a co-sponsor by day 5, and I would say even day 3, you are SOL and you're just gonna have access to your primary sponsor. Another con, which has always been the case, you cannot join an organization and name a primary, name a co-sponsor, and then just decide to change it later on. You will not be able to change it. No exceptions. And now, if you realize you made the wrong decision, you have to leave EXP for an entire year, no longer 6 months, a year, and then come back with naming 2 new people, primary and a new co-sponsor. Before I go into the exact scenarios of what I have experienced and what I'm seeing others that can help you, I want to cover who is eligible and even more about the time frames. Every single new agent that joined starting May 1st, 2025 is eligible to select a co-sponsor again within the 5 days. So by the time you're watching this, it may even be June. And if you sign up for EXP more than 5 days ago, that's it. You have your primary. Agents who joined roughly 3 months before that, from specifically February 24th, 2025 through April 30th, 2025, will have a one-time opportunity to retroactively add a co-sponsor. But that time frame ends May 31st, 2025. Everything is public. Everything is on the EXP website. This is not gatekeeping. It's all out there. If that is you, if you are an agent that recently joined EXP from February 24th through April 30th, you have the entire month of May to choose a co-sponsor. I'm getting text messages too, sometimes of people that join EXP and realize they joined the wrong family. So if you joined during that time period and you did not join under me and you want to name me as a co-sponsor, you can. These are the 2 emails to email. Number 1 is revenueshare@exprealty.net, net. And the other one is co-sponsor@exprealty.net. Net. Not com, net. Every staff email is a .net. Do that immediately. By the way, my full name is Alexandra Garced. A lot of people try to searching for Ali and I don't pop up. So it's alexandra.garced@exprealty.com is my email. And by the way, this co-sponsorship has nothing to do with the mentor program. If you are a new agent, you can have now the best of 3, a primary sponsor, a co-sponsor, and you will be assigned a mentor after you onboard. As soon as you onboard with me, you get my entire playbook for helping buyers from beginning to end, including how to find buyers, sellers, and your listing checklist from beginning to end, including how to find listings and how to have them give you a 5-star review every single time, outbound referrals, social media playbook, my real estate Bible, which has every single thought I've ever had about real estate sales, my 200K GCI Playbook to help you make $200,000 your first year in the business. And I know it works because I personally wrote it and I've personally been making that. And I've helped others do the same. So I want to cover what to do aside from sending the emails out, how to add a co-sponsor is you go into the My EXP dashboard, you go to the knowledge base section, and that is where you can fill out the co-sponsorship intake form. That's where you name your sponsor. Just in case as a backup, I do suggest emailing so you have it written, but do not rely on just the email. So now I want to cover specific scenarios of what I have seen that helps this situation. So if you are an agent who is thinking about joining EXP, now is the time because now you have the best of multiple worlds. So for example, an agent reached out to me in a different state and he was conflicted between 3 different sponsors at EXP. He didn't know whether to choose one or the other or whatnot. Co-sponsorship had just come out, so he knew he could choose 2 out of the 3. So how did he make his decision? As he was interviewing around, which he interviewed around at least 6 people with EXP is, I believe, what he said. He was looking at not only what do they offer, but accessibility to ask questions. So he decided that he wanted to name me as the primary because we were accessible, we provide checklists, we provide the systems and the process to turn this into a scalable business and not a hobby or not a job where you're always stressed about where your next commission check is coming from. So he knew he wanted to name me as a primary sponsor. So now he has a co-sponsor. Out of the other 2, who should the co-sponsor be? He decided to name someone local to him because I told him, since you're in Michigan, I will not be able to answer any questions related to your MLS, your state rules. I don't know. I don't know them. I work out of Arizona. So yes, you're going to have your mentor, which is going to be boots on ground for you, but he decided to name an icon agent in his area as his co-sponsor because what that does is instead of competition, now he is aligned with the #1 producing agent in his market. So now the icon agent is very much so incentivized to help out this new agent. So what happened to the 3rd agent that he was considering naming? He purchased their course. He said, I can have the best of all 4 worlds. Primary, co-sponsor being local, I have the mentor, which is also local to do even more handholding, and I can purchase a course that the other person has. So it was the best scenario for everyone. Now say you are a broker owner thinking of moving your entire brokerage over to EXP. There are multiple ways you can skin this cat, but overall, the same principle still applies. It would benefit your agents and you the most in order to name a primary sponsor because everyone in your organization will have access to that person's leverage, aka their upline. If every single person in their upline offers something really, really good, now that's less work that you have to provide yourself. If they offer trainings, that's less trainings you have to do. So as you're comparing organizations, who is doing something similar to what I'm doing or offering even more than what I'm currently doing, so I could buy back my time and focus on just culture and culture. That's it. You no longer have to cut checks. You're no longer HR. You're no longer dealing with any of the monstrosities and headaches that come with real estate. That's what the broker team is for. Then you can choose the co-sponsor who offers a lot of stuff as well, or somehow can be a benefit to your agents. Again, they have to be the one that offers a lot of stuff to your agents, not their upline. And still thinking about this from the sponsee's point of view, whenever you close a sale, your revenue share will go to the co-sponsor because you are their level 1. Your revenue share will then, the level 2 revenue share will go up to your primary sponsor. They're going to be getting level 2 and 4, 5, 6, 7. And assuming the same scenario where you were the broker owner or team leader bringing over your community to EXP, anybody in your downline is going to fall under your co-sponsor. So your co-sponsor is going to get level 1 from you, level 2 from your sponsee, level 3 from their sponsee, all the way down to their level 7. So this is a great way for you to celebrate your top producing agents. You can say you have 3 top producing agents in your crew of 10 or 15, whatever. Your top 3 agents can name you as a sponsor when they're moving over to EXP, and you have named the primary and you have named the co-sponsor, and your top 3 agents can then sponsor in the remainder of your crew. So that way, every single time the remainder of your crew closes a deal, your top 3 agents are being rewarded for that. That provides stickiness. That's better for retention. The co-sponsorship program in general is better for retention, and you're providing them the ability to be able to retire and not have to work until they expire, as the saying goes. Here is a third example of how this can apply in real life. Say you're looking to join EXP, and say you don't care about having somebody near you. That's the way that I was. I didn't care who was physically in the same city as me. I just want the checklist. I want the ability to build an actual business. That's why I chose somebody across the country, because she and now I give everything away for free to those that join us. There's no cost. So by watching my other videos, you know exactly what I offer. I have all of the checklists. I have social media. I have the open house playbook. However, what I do not have is stuff on cold calling or working paid ads. So for example, if you wanted my stuff and my upline stuff, you could name me as a primary, and you can name the other person that you find that will give you information on paid ads and cold calling and say working Zillow leads, anything like that. Now you'll have access to both, because say you don't want to make a YouTube channel to get clients, that's fine. Or the reverse can apply, where say you only need my stuff. You saw my videos of exactly what I have, and that's enough. And you want to join another organization that maybe has different stuff and you want to tap into their upline's organization, you can name me as a co-sponsor and name them as a primary sponsor. That way you get access to everything of what they offer, all the way up to 7 tiers high, and you'll have access to everything of what I offer. Nothing changes. Whether I am the primary or the co-sponsor, I give the same access to everyone. So the first example was choosing somebody based off of geographic location, so that way you're not competing. And the second example is tapping into the value stack. What are you interested in doing, and fill in the gaps. If your primary sponsor is going to offer ABC, find a co-sponsor that can offer D through Z. You get my example. So if you already joined EXP and you want to name me as a co-sponsor, first of all, take advantage of a co-sponsor, whoever you choose. But if you want to name me as a co-sponsor, fill out the co-sponsor intake form. My name is Alexandra Garced. Send the emails out to those 2 emails. Do it immediately, because I do not want you to miss the deadline.